think what they turn up for is a good cast going to amazing places, doing amazing things.
You actually filmed this season recently as opposed to, a year or two ago. How does that feel to kind of be back in the swing of things?
Well, it's quite, we were out not that long ago shooting finishing off season 33. So it feels like the turnaround was quite quick. Yeah, it's just different because we're using a charter plane, which we had to do when we restarted on season 33. And so it's quite a different, it's a different kind of race, right? Because we're not out running through airports in the public. We're still, we've still had to make some adjustments for COVID protocols, return to work protocols. So it is different, but it's something that we have done before because we did do it to finish off season 33.
Yeah, I know the protocols worked, and season 33 was right, I think. Obviously, we were still in the middle of a pandemic. We're still in the middle of this. But did you see filming season 34? Was the world opening up a little bit more than when you were filming 34?
Oh, yeah. The world is opening up a lot. And I think that's part of the challenge is that every country you go to, they all have different COVID protocols. And so some are very restrictive and others are really lenient. And so we're having to sort of abide by rules that have been mandated here in the United States, no matter what. And that does make it challenging because, we are an international show. And so you have to adjust and pivot a lot. It's still challenging. But I think the most important thing is we have to keep everybody safe and healthy. That's our number one goal, right? To get everybody home, get everybody out into the world and get them all home safely. And we've managed to do that. And so I'm really proud about that we've been able to do that.
I also know, I feel like the big headline this season is that there are no non-elimination legs. Do you know kind of what went into that decision? And then how do you think that changes things up this season?
I think as far as what went into that decision, that's really it's really to mix things up and to keep things exciting. It's let's try not having any eliminations. And for a long time we've had them and it just sort of ups the ante, I guess, and makes things a little bit more competitive. So yeah, you always want to do something a little different, and that's definitely one of those things. And with a show that's been on as long as we have, you don't want to deviate too much away from what works. If you look at successful shows that have been on for decades, I think the reason that they have worked over and over again, whether it's a game show or whether it's 60 Minutes, is because things haven't changed and people know what they're getting and the format works. And I think that's true of Amazing Race. You don't want to reinvent something that works. So while we've made changes and little changes like that, I think at the end of the day, the reason Amazing Race works is because the original format is really good.
Yeah.
So you don't want to mess that up.
It's a small change.
Don't mess it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't try to fix what's not broken.
Exactly. Do you think that equates to any longer legs? Because I know racers love to go to the mat, and then you're like, oh, actually, you're still racing here. Are we going to see that, you think?
Oh, sure. Yeah. You're going to see harder legs. You're going to see harder competition. You're going to see, absolutely. You'll definitely see something. I mean, it's just because it's more competitive. We're going to make them fight harder to be able to stay in the race. But they know too that if they mess up, that's it. There's no second chance. It's very cutthroat. It's what you call in sports, I guess, sudden death, right? If you lose, you're done. There's no way to come back. You've got to win. Otherwise you're out.
Can you say anything about, are there U-turns? Are there any other twists that we could expect?
Everybody loves to talk about the twists, but it's ultimately not what makes the show exciting. I mean, you could twist the hell out of the format and, add this twist and that twist. I don't know whether you call them twists, but ultimately, I don't think twists are the things that people turn up for. I don't think they turn up for a twist. I think what they turn up for is a good cast going to amazing places, doing amazing things. That's And,
no,
and
I agree with you. I agree with you.
I guess the twist is we're going to a new country. We've never been there before. We have a cast that another twist would be that we've got a group of people that we've never had before. And we're doing challenges that we've never done before. I mean, I guess those are the twists. Those are the best twists. But
I think fans like that. Fans don't want to see anything too crazy.
I agree. I mean, what I hear from fans, you know, don't twist things. Just, you know, don't jump the shark on this thing. Just keep what we love. We love the people. We love the destinations. We love the challenges. Stick with that. Don't jump the shark. What happened when they jumped the shark? Didn't work out too well. Anyway, no shark jumping on the show.
Well, you did mention the cast. This looks like really fun cast. You know, we've got Rex Ryan in there. We've got Claire and Derick from Big Brother. How familiar were you with any of these people, or was it new for you going in as well?
Well, I get to meet them through the audition process, so that's always really exciting. I did definitely know about Rex and had seen him on that reality show. I think it's called Hard Knocks. Was it called Hard Knocks? But he's a larger than life character. I mean, he would be the one person in the original cast that I knew. I knew of Derick and Claire. I don't get a huge opportunity to watch a lot of TV, to be honest with you, because I'm always working on making TV. But yeah, I knew of Derick and Claire, and obviously then I got to meet people as they came in. I think you know, there's a lot of love this season. There's a lot of couples in love. There's a lot of moments where partners are staring into the eyes of their significant others on the mat. You know, I'm like, hey, hello, and there's a lot of like dreamy sort of eye stares going on. Definitely a lot of love and definitely a lot of fun. Big, larger than life characters, and a lot of people who are really good at moving. Another word for very good at dancing.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, we got quite a few dancers in the mix. We got some cheerleaders and some professional dancing teachers and people who are choreographers and who have worked with people like Pitbull. And so we've got a lot of, we've got a lot of movement, I would happen to say. A lot of energy.
That can come in handy because sometimes you get sent home on those dancing.
And believe me, we've definitely got some challenges that involve movement and moving well.
Yeah, so tell me about some of the places that you were excited and you're excited for fans to see that The Amazing Race goes to this season.
The place that I'm most excited about is Jordan. I first went there back in the late 90s. It's a very unique place, made famous. I mean, people know it more than they realize because it's been the backdrop for a lot of movies over the years, like most recently Dune, but The Martian, some of the Star Wars movies, Lawrence of Arabia, the 1962 film with Peter O'Toole. So it's a famous landscape. And then Petra is this ancient city that is still, that they've preserved. And it's amazing, the history of Petra and the fact that we get to take teams there. That's the place I was most excited about taking everybody. And it's a first for a race. We've never been there before. So we flew everybody in. We flew everybody around this season on a chatter. But when everybody heard that they were going to Jordan, there was definitely a heightened level of excitement. And there was a scene in the show which is movie quality, I will say.
Oh.
Big, larger than life, a lot of big moving pieces, a lot of choreography, and something pretty spectacular.
You've been doing this for so long, and obviously the world looks a little different now, but are people still noticing you guys, or are you guys in and out and you're like, oh, what just happened? Or people coming up to you when you're filming? How does that go right now that the world's a little different?
More people know us, obviously, than way back in the day. I mean, way back in the day, 2000, when we were traveling the world, it was a very different world, with technology. Now, and we would try to keep everything secret, and we would, pretend that we were out on the road. When the show was on the air, there was sort of this guys that we would pretend that we were out on the road and that there were these weeks between each of the legs, and that we didn't actually come home, that we didn't record it all in 30 something days back then. Now we record the same season in 20 something days. But there was, we sort of made out like we were out there in the world, and people just didn't have the phones and the technology, and we didn't have the cell phones to communicate. And so it was way more difficult to communicate, and way more difficult with the technology that was available. Now we embrace the fact that people recognize us around the world, because when we're running through an airport, somebody pulls out their phone and goes live on Instagram, and suddenly they're broadcasting what we're doing to the world on Instagram. And you have to embrace that, because you can't hide it. And I think our fans in general, you're always going to get people who love being spoilers. They love being the ones that give away information, oh, this person did this or that person did this, and they want to give it away. But I would say about our fans, they're very respectful of other fans, and they don't do that. True Amazing Race fans don't throw out spoilers and ruin it for everybody else. So as accessible as we all are, and as easy as it is for anybody anywhere to give away a lot of information if they wanted to, people are in general very respectful and don't do that. They may take a photograph or something, but they're not going to give away, or a video, but then they don't give away the information. And a lot of times I'll also just talk to people and just say, hey, do you mind keeping that quiet until the show goes to air, And they're like, yeah, don't worry, They'll ask me for a photograph or something, and I oblige, because I know that, we have the best fans. We really do. They're very respectful in that regard.
I agree with you. I think it's harder to find spoilers for The Amazing Race, and that's why I like it, because I like to avoid them. So it's perfect.
Yeah, it's everybody. There's some people that just love doing that, and it's sort of annoying to me. It's
it's annoying.
Such a selfish thing to do. Like, come on.
I agree. I do want to ask you one more question about the Big Brother. Obviously, Derick and Claire. We've had Rachel and Brendan go far. Kody and Jessica won. Is there something about, having a relationship on TV prior to The Amazing Race that maybe helps them when they're on The Amazing Race? Or is there anything to that?
I don't know about helps them win.
Right.
Because you still have to perform everything like everybody else. And all of that is unknown. So I think the fact that you've been on TV before, I don't think that helps you do the challenges, because, if you're a terrible dancer, or you're not very good at building something or making a cake, having been on another show is not going to make you any better at that. But there's definitely a difference in terms of their mindset when they come on the show, because they have been on TV before. They understand the language of TV in a way that a novice doesn't. So there's an innocence that has been taken away, if you like, because they've done it before. Yeah. So that is different. But I don't think it helps them win. I think it's, the people that have been chosen have been people that have made their presence known on other shows. And the reason they've made their presence themselves known and with their presence is because they've generally stayed a long time. So they're generally competitive, and they generally have done well, right? Like the people that go out early in other shows don't tend to make it onto our show. It tends to be people who are
competitive.
Savvy. Yeah, and who have done well.
If your friend is going on the show, they're going to be on the race, someone from your family, what advice would you give them in terms of preparation? Is there anything you can say to prepare to go on The Amazing Race?
Well, the most important thing is to follow the simple rules of Amazing Race, which are to read your clue, and to slow down, and to think before you act. I think we're all guilty of this. Sometimes when we get flustered with things, we tend to think that if we're moving, we're doing the right thing. But we just keep going, just keep moving, just keep doing it. And sometimes you're repeating the same mistake over and over and over again, because you're not thinking, and because you think that you're getting something done because you're actually moving. But the best advice would be to just settle down, read the clue over and over, settle your mind so that you're really thinking, and think your way out of a problem, instead of just getting in a car and driving in the wrong direction for
That one drives me nuts. I'm like, it's been 5 hours. You're going the wrong way.
Right. Like just being able to slow down, recalculate, recalibrate, and definitely. And then also just keeping a sense of humor, because it's meant to be an enjoyable experience. So keep a sense of humor, be respectful to those people that you come into contact with, and enjoy it. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. Enjoy it.